Hello, everybody. I'm Nina Soden, urban fantasy author of the Blood Angel series and the Sector C series and the soon-to-be released The Beast Within. And today I am so excited because I have Renee DeCamillis here with me. And we're going to be talking to her about her books and everything she's got on the plate right now because she is a busy lady. She is the author of the psychological thriller, supernatural horror novella, The Bone Cutters, published through Eraserhead Press as part of their that's my dog for you, sorry, part of their 2019 new Bizarro Authors Series. Renee is an editorial intern for the 5-time Bram Stoker's award-winning speculative fiction and dark fantasy publisher, Crystal Lake Publishing. She is a member of the Horror Writers Association, the New England Horror Writers, and the Horror Writers of Maine. She's also a lyricist and poet, a lifelong musician and singer, and a tree-hugging hippie with a sharp metal edge. She is currently hard at work writing the sequel to The Bone Cutters. Okay, I have to jump right in and ask you, do you have a copy of The Bone Cutters with you right now?
Yes, I do.
Can you show it to us? Because I absolutely love the cover, and I want everybody to see that right from the start. Okay. Yes, I can. It is so gripping. So who designed that cover for you? Did you do it yourself or did you hire somebody?
I did not. The publisher hired somebody, actually, and I can't remember his name. Isn't that horrible? I tried to contact him to thank him, and I couldn't find him anywhere.
Oh, wow. It is a beautiful cover. So
yeah, it's Eric Wilson.
Okay. So tell me,
I tried to contact him to say thanks, but
that happens. So tell me, when you wrote the story, what did you envision as the cover? Did he nail it, or is it different than what you had envisioned?
I didn't really have an idea for the cover, to be completely honest. Yeah, I didn't. I brainstormed ideas like I wonder what will go on the cover, but I never really had it set in my mind.
Okay. So now it's a novella, not a novel, correct? Right. So roughly how long is it?
It's about 108 pages, I think, 108.
Okay. And what was the inspiration for the story?
It all started from a nightmare.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it, or give us the elevator pitch, or read us the back cover, whichever one you prefer.
Well, where the idea came from the nightmare was walking into, because the opening scene starts out in the main character is in gets brought to a group counseling session. There's a bunch of people sitting around in a circle talking, and that happened in my nightmare, where I went with a friend to meet one of her friends, and I'm like, sure, we were at a Portland art walk, and she's like, oh, it'll just take a minute, I promised him I'd stop in and see him. I'm like, sure, let's go. And we just kind of stood off to the side. It looked like I didn't know what it was. Everyone was talking, and that's when I listened to what people were saying to try to figure out, why is everybody here sitting in a circle? It just looked weird. Yeah. And then I found out that they all carve into themselves to scrape their bones and get high off the bone dust. And it just creeped me out.
Crazy. So that was your dream.
That was my dream. Yeah, I woke up the next morning and told my husband about it, and I'm like, that has to go in a story. That is too weird to not write about.
Well, and it's so unique too. It's nothing that's been done, which is awesome, because it's so rare to find a story that is just completely unique in and of itself. So that's fantastic. So you are working on the sequel now.
Yes, I am. Yeah, and actually I was editing it before this interview.
Fantastic. So it's almost done then.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's all written. I might have to rewrite a chapter, but other than that, I'm editing it now.
So when can readers expect to have that one out and available?
I am not sure, because I had hoped to have the edits done by the end of 2020, but then I changed the ending.
Okay.
So it took longer than I thought. So I don't know. I was hoping to have it out this year, but now that it's not ready to shop to publishers yet,
So you're not going to, it's not being bought by the same publisher that did your last one? That didn't the
I haven't checked with them yet.
Okay.
I don't know. The novella was published as part of their new Bizarro Authors Series. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this one is as bizarre. I don't know. I don't know if it would fit in their line of books.
So is this a novella or is this a novel?
This one's a novel.
Okay.
I was aiming for a novella, but it just grew. So I just went
kept
with
going.
It.
Yeah. You kind of have to let the book take on whatever life form it needs or wants.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell me how music plays a part in your writing, because I know as a musician, as a singer, that has an effect on your writing. How does that affect your writing, and what part of music do you give to your writing?
Well, there's always a lot of music references throughout the book, or story. Not all the stories I wrote, but most of the stories I write have some mention of music in them. Some more than others, but also just with the way I write the lines when I'm, reading it over, maybe not in a first draft, but maybe as I read through again and edit, and I try to get, I go with the rhythm of the lines because I read it out loud a lot. And if I'm trying to figure out why something's not working, I'll read it out loud, and it has to flow. I like to write poetry and song lyrics too. So I think, and that's really where my writing started, was poetry and song lyrics. So I think it's just kind of ingrained in there. I have to hear how the lines flow together and the rhythm.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your writing process. So are you a plotter? Do you plan everything out? Or are you just kind of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of writer?
I'll usually have just a basic plan, but I don't plot. I actually just saw a post the other day of a new writer like myself who's only got one book out, and she took a picture of all her scenes, all, pieces of paper, all plotted out and all spread out. And I've never done it that way. Yeah. I don't really know where the story's going. I feel like if I plan it out, that it might not want to go where I thought it was going to go, and then I might try to force it to go there. Yeah. So I just try to get a basic idea, and then I just write it.
Okay. And do you envision your characters? Do you have actors or musicians or somebody in mind when you're writing your characters?
I usually get inspiration. I might have inspiration from other people, either people I know or some, actors or musicians, like my janitor character, Tommy. Some people thought I was referring to Tommy Lee, inspired by Tommy Lee, because there's mention of drumming and stuff, but he never crossed my mind. I see how people could think that, but he never crossed my mind when I created that character. He's actually loosely inspired by Danny Trejo.
Okay.
From his character in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, where he played the orderly in Michael Myers, the hospital he was admitted to. So even though my Tommy's not an orderly or a psych tech, or wait a minute, was Danny Trejo? Yeah, Danny Trejo was a psych tech. Yeah, but my Tommy's a janitor.
Okay. So,
but yeah, I get ideas from other people out there.
So if The Bone Cutters was a movie, who would play your lead character?
I don't know. I haven't placed a. See, and I'm not good with names of the actors and actresses, so. I don't know. You kind of stumped me on that one.
Well, you did say ask you questions outside the box. So
yeah, no, I'm glad you did, because I need to start doing that more, because I see a lot of other people are always asking those questions like, oh, well, who would play your characters? And
Yeah.
try to create my own, I'm afraid if I base it too much on a character, then I'm gonna box them in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk. I still want to talk a little bit about your writing process. How long did it take you to write The Bone Cutters from concept to publication? What was that process?
it took me about 6 months, I think.
That's
6 or
it.
7
Wow.
months. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I started writing it. I thought it was going to be a short story.
Okay.
And I was doing an online writers group with some people I had gone to grad school with. And I had workshopped part of that story. And then one of my writer friends told me about a submission call for horror addiction stories. And they wanted a novella. So I just shot for that submission call, and I just wrote so I could meet the deadline.
Yeah, sometimes deadlines have to drive us, right?
Yeah. That one definitely was driven by a deadline.
And this is your first book out, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So what kind of pushed you in the direction of saying, you know what, I think I want to write and publish something?
Well, I was working in the psych field, the mental health field. I got my degree in psychology, and it was total hell.
Okay.
Yeah. Many of my jobs, I had to report people for not following guidelines and putting people at risk, and it was just very taxing. And the last job I was in, well, not the last job, but the job where I got the idea of wanting to be a writer was I was in ed tech for at-risk high school students. And I was, I helped with all the subjects and just their literature class. It was specifically, I remember rereading Poe's The Black Cat.
Yes.
And seriously, I started crying, not at work, but after reading that story, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I can't stay in this field anymore. This is what I'm going to do. And I decided to go back to school.
So are you a full-time writer now?
Well, I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm homeschooling my son. He was supposed to start kindergarten this year, but that didn't happen. So I'm homeschooling him.
Yeah. So how has COVID and a child at home full-time, how has that affected your writing process? And as a parent, I know it's difficult for me to find time to write. How have you found finding time to write and actually getting progress done? How has that been for you as a mom?
Difficult. Very difficult. Luckily, my husband is now working a very early morning shift, so I homeschool my son until about 1.
Okay.
And then when my husband gets home, he takes over and he does the math part because I am horrible with math.
Okay.
So, and then when he takes over, then I retreat to my office and I work from about 1:30 till about 6 at night.
Wow.
And
writing the whole time?
No, because indie authors, I'm sure I have to promote too. My work,
Yes.
I'm not going to get nobody's going to know who I am if I don't promote.
I know, it's shocking, right? You think you write a book, you get it published, you put it out there, and then nothing.
People are just going to naturally gravitate to it,
No, it doesn't happen, unfortunately. Why is that? So, okay, you have to divide that time up. You write, you have to market yourself, and you have to put the books out there and get feedback. What is the hardest part of being an indie author for you?
Being out there, the marketing and promotion, people, an indie author, they say you need you need an online presence.
Yes.
I don't have time to be on social media all the time. I need to be writing.
Yes. Yes.
But I force myself to be on there. And it's not like I don't want to converse with all these other writers. And it's not like I don't want to advertise my stuff. It's just with such limited time.
Yeah. It's hard to be everywhere at once.
Yeah. It's a constant struggle.
Yes. And not get lost in the weeds. I think for me, that's the hard part is you have Pinterest, you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have LinkedIn, you have, all of these different social media accounts. You have your website. If you're doing a website and a blog, you have to do interviews like this,
right?
Podcast. I mean, all that kind of stuff adds up. And then you're like, well, I've done all of these things and now I get to write. You have this little amount of time that's actually spent doing the craft that you want to be doing.
Right. I know. And the time I spend like promoting my work or just trying to be out there and have a presence. And when I'm not writing, then I'm like, I feel like I'm not a writer. You know what I mean? Like I almost feel like, well, you're not writing, you're on social media. Yeah. So, and sometimes, trying to do all that, I feel like I'm a poser. So then I'm like, click offline and just write.
Yes. Yes. And do you ever get lost in it? You're like, I'm just going to go on, I'm going to make one post and that's all. I'll check my quick comments and that's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to get off. I've got 5 minutes to do all my social media. And then I'm going to go back to writing. And then like 2 hours later, you're like, I really got to go back to writing. Do you ever find that?
Yeah. That happens way too easily. I get sucked right down the rabbit hole. And actually I've started changing up my schedule when I come into the office. Okay. Because I find if I get online, I'm not a big fan of all the technology anyway, and I'm really terrible at it. But I find if I get online or start doing promo stuff before writing, it negatively affects my productivity and just my whole mindset when I go into writing. So now I've made it, I'm trying to be strict to just come in and write and then leave time before I'm done to go check messages or maybe do a couple promo posts or go online and, maybe converse with some people and make some posts or, whatever. Yeah. But I'm trying to force myself to get in here and just write. Yeah. Then later I can do that stuff once I actually accomplish something.
So how much time is your goal every day to go in and write? How much time do you want to say, okay, I can write and then I can go do the other stuff? Is it a time limit or is it a word count or is it a chapter count? What do you aim for?
It depends on what I'm working on. Right now I'm editing. So I usually go with, I want to get through a significant number of pages. Yep. Or I might want to, if I get some short chapters coming up, okay, I want to get through these next 3 short chapters, or it depends on what I'm working on. If I'm writing something fresh and it's just writing and not the editing and revising, then I'll look at either time or word count. Okay. I constantly keep track of my word count. It's an obsession.
I used to be that way. I used to say, okay, I have to do this many words every day. And then I started realizing that if I just aim for words, I put erroneous words in there and I'm just like, oh, that's just crap. I'm just going to edit that out later. Now I go for a time and that's it. Right. Like whatever I can get down.
Yeah. Mine's now kind of a combo of time and because if I do it all time, both ways can be misleading to make you think you might have had some productivity, so I kind of try to weigh both of them, because and plus with research, I try not to get too much into the research when I'm just getting the story down because I'll spend hours. I love to research. I love researching. I love learning new things and I can go right down the rabbit hole and end up spending 3 hours just researching. And then I end up with, 45 minutes of writing,
Yeah. So how much research went into the bone cutters?
None.
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 Is that because you worked in the field of psychology, or is that just, and you just have natural life experience with that, or is it just complete fiction?
That's my guess. My research was already done
Okay.
previous to writing it, because I lived a lot of it, and I've had a lot of I've dealt with a lot of drug addicts. I've been to counseling. I worked in the psych field. I know a lot about the field. I know a lot of drug abusers. And I know a lot of people who work in the mental health field. And I used to work in a psych hospital as a psych tech. So the hospital setting, really, I just pictured the place I worked. And it was where I worked, just to a T.
So
the way the hallways were set up, the way the counter is, the nurse, when I pictured it, I was right back there working there.
Yeah. So this sequel, what is it called?
Chisel the Bone.
It's like spine tingling.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the first book, The Bone Cutters, it wasn't called The Bone Cutters when it was accepted by Eraserhead. It was called Chiseled High.
Okay.
But the publisher wanted to change the title because she thought of a high school with all like these buff jocks and.
Okay. Yeah. It kind of sounds like a bad teen movie. Yeah.
It's funny though, because I had never thought of that until she mentioned it. So then after she said that, I couldn't even get it out of my head. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that title then.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they would have envisioned that, seeing the title and the cover you have. But yes, the title alone, I completely get that. Totally.
Yeah. And then I had come up with the idea for Chisel the Bone for the title, but as you know, the book is more about the main character, Dory, than it is about the bone cutters. And since Dory's not a bone cutter, my publisher thought it would have been misleading to title it Chisel the Bone. So
gotcha.
The bone cutters play a big role in the sequel. So I thought the title would be very fitting for this one.
Okay. And you have some other works in progress that you are doing. You have 2 other novels. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, one is complete, but after sending it to a few beta readers, the second half needs to be revised.
Okay.
But that's not what I want to go back to right away after this one. Actually, I'm excited to get this one finished because I'm just excited about the book, but also because I'm excited to get back to the other novel I have I got right to like the climax. There's a big battle scene, and then I'm like, I gotta get my sequel out, and I put I put the brakes on, and because I just keep hearing like, you can't wait too long to get your sequel out. You can't wait too long to get your sequel out because people will forget about the first book. Yeah. So I kept playing in my head, and I'd be working on the other book, but thinking about the sequel. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, if I'm not thinking about the book I'm working on, then I got to work on what I'm thinking of, get that done, and then go back. Yeah. And that one is about, I don't know the title yet because I keep going back and forth with 2 different titles and I can't pick which one I like best. It's about the evils of the cell phone.
Oh, okay.
But all my stuff goes supernatural, so there's supernatural aspect of it. But yeah, I have a main character who is he is out to complete his father's work. His father had done a bunch of research about the real reason for the invention of the cell phone. Okay. But his father was suicided, murdered. Okay. Yeah. So now he's vowed to finish his father's work and reveal the true reason behind the invention of the cell phone. But while he's trying to do that, then people come after him.
Okay, very cool. And this one is a novel, not a novella, yes?
Yeah, it's a novel. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a master's in literature, is that correct? In writing?
I have an MFA.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
in creative writing.
okay. And was that something that you did when you first went to college, or is this something that you said, you know, I'm going to become a writer and then I want to go ahead and do it? Or did you already have that interest?
No, when I first went to college, I wouldn't go to college for anything but music. So I didn't go to get my MFA until I was in my mid 30s.
Wow.
So yeah, it was after my horrific time working in the mental health field. And actually, I'd gone back to not grad school, but I'd gone back to undergraduate school because I thought I was going to get a literature degree because I was considering teaching high school English. And I just assumed that a high school English teacher needs a literature degree.
No.
But they don't.
Yes.
So I now have more literature college credits than a high school English teacher. But then I just went for my MFA.
Okay. Very cool. So, what should they expect from you when they pick up your book? What do you want them to walk away with feeling? What is that feeling you want to leave them with?
The creeps.
The creeps. Because it is psychological thriller. It's psychological thriller. It's horror. Do you feel like you're drawn to the gruesome side of horror, or are you drawn more to that true, realistic, this could happen type of horror?
The gruesome can happen too.
But the ones that keep you up late at night are different than like the monster horrors. That's what I'm saying.
I kind of I like a combination.
Okay.
I don't think all horror needs to have gore. But I don't mind the gore, and sometimes it's good to give to get a creep out, get that gross out factor. But
yeah.
I don't like it when people rely on, trying to gross me out. Like I can tell when I'm reading a book if there's a lot of gruesome scenes.
Yeah.
I can tell if they're just trying to gross me out. I don't care about being grossed out. I want to be scared or like imagine that gruesome thing happening to me. Like, how would that feel, And
so that begs the question, what is your favorite horror book that you've read?
Oh my God, my favorite book.
What scares you the most?
What scares me?
Yeah, what book?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know what scares me the most. If I think of a favorite book that I thought was scary is, especially recently, a recent book that I've read, well, not recent, but is Paul Tremblay's Head Full of Ghosts.
Okay.
I really like when I do this a lot. Is I like when you put mental illness or potential mental illness against the supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved stories like that, and I tend to do that a lot in my stories. So I think that's why I really like that, because you never really know what's going on, and I like that. That's why I tend to use a lot of that's probably why I use a lot of mental illness and supernatural stuff, because you don't know, is this character just crazy and they need medication and therapy, or is something more going on, because like I've written my first book, the one that I have to revise the second half, my main character's mother has schizophrenia, and my main character is a psychiatrist who can see the future.
Oh, wow.
But she doesn't dare to let anybody know that she can see the future, because she's afraid people are going to think she's schizophrenic.
Like
because her mother is schizophrenic. but yet her mother also knows things before they happen. So she's schizophrenic, but yet she's
kind of got that gift as well.
yeah, she still has that the psychic ability. So yeah, I'd have to say that was one that that scared me.
Okay.
And of course, the Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yes, absolutely.
That's just
absolutely.
I love stories about hauntings.
Okay. So before we go on, I do a 10-question hot seat at the end of every interview. But before we do that, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want my viewers to know about?
Well, I had a short story come out recently.
Okay.
And it came out is in an anthology for all women horror writers. It was all women horror writers from New England. And it's Wicked Women.
Oh, I love that cover. And what is your story called?
My story is Bad Trip Highway.
And what is it about?
It's about a drug-fueled rock star who's on the drive of his life after he picks up a hitchhiking carny.
And what inspired that story?
Actually, I was teaching a creative writing class for at-risk high school students, and I was trying to inspire ideas because they're like, I don't know what to write about. I don't know. You have this unlimited things you could write about.
Yeah.
So I put a bunch of ideas on little slips of paper, and I did a bunch of different types of characters, and then I did a bunch of situations. So they could just pick a character and pick a situation and pop them in a hat and just pick them out and write something. And one of the situations that I came up with, I liked it so much. I'm like, I want to write a story about that. And it was just the situation. I actually have it taped on my desk here. It's picked up a hitchhiking carny who wouldn't get out of the car.
Nice. Okay. And did your students come up with anything good?
Well, one wrote a rap song. One took some other ideas I have that I also want to write a short story about, but I don't know whatever came of it. I can't remember. They weren't very motivated. If they produced even a page,
you were excited. Yeah.
And even the student who wrote a song, one of the other teachers is like, he didn't do what you asked him to do. I go, he's writing. I don't care.
Yeah, there are words on paper. It's good.
Exactly. He wrote something and he's excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes just getting them to crack a book or write something, it's fantastic. Just
exactly.
A little bit of creativity can go a long way if you just nurture it.
Yes. Right. I mean, like if I sit down to write a story and then I write a poem instead, I'm not going to be upset with myself. I'll be like, cool, I got a poem and I plan on writing one.
Absolutely. You got to take the little wins, right? Just take those wins. All right. So in honor of James Lipton's Inside the Actor Studio, I do his 10-question hot seat at the end of every interview. So my advice is just don't think about it. There are no wrong answers, and you do not need to explain any of your answers. So are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. What is your favorite word?
I don't know. My favorite word, oblivion.
What is your that works? Oblivion works. What is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word.
Mm-hmm.
Hankering.
What turns you on?
What turns me on? Intelligence.
What turns you off?
Racism.
What sound or noise do you love?
Music.
What sound or noise do you hate?
The alarm clock.
Okay. What is your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse word?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Okay.
I use it a lot.
Give it to him. Yeah. I love that you're just like eager to say it. I have so many people that just are like, oh, I don't know say that.
Oh, I don't hold back.
Yeah, good. All right. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
What other profession? I'm stumped.
Okay. We could skip it. What
Okay.
profession would you not want to do?
A lawyer.
Okay. Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Welcome home.
Nice. Okay, Renee, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. For all of you out there watching, please check in the comments below, in the description below. I will have links to Renee's book, The Bone Cutters, and all of her social media. So make sure you check her out, follow her where you can, and get a copy of her book before the next one comes out. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.